Hey everybody, Mike Naso here from IPR with the latest on tropical storms Lorenzo and Karen. Taking a look out there, you could mainly see Karen sitting here in the central Atlantic getting sheared, but still holding a large envelope of tropical storm force winds. Out here off the screen in the Gulf of Mexico is Lorenzo, and then what was our tropical wave we were watching over here has moved over the Greater Antilles and shouldn't do much, although if it does get into the Gulf or up off the east coast, you'll have to keep an eye on it. Also, what's left of what was our Invest 98L moving on off to the northeast shouldn't be too much of a problem. What is a problem, especially for Mexico, is Lorenzo is strengthened very fast today, and winds are now up to 70 miles per hour, gusting to 85. It could become a hurricane before landfall, probably will. It was at 20.4 or 95.9. It was moving west slowly at 4, so it's not sitting around stationary like yesterday. It's starting to move. And the pressure is 999 millibars. And as you can see on the satellite imagery, it's starting to definitely get that hurricane-type shape to it. As you can see, the banding starting to get better. And even though the center is up in here and it's not extreme organization, it is still a lot better than what we saw yesterday. In fact, if you look at the IR from this time yesterday and flip it to right now, there is a marked difference in the amount of convection and organization. You can see the center would be right about in this region here, and it should come inland before tomorrow morning, probably right around say 4 or 5 a.m. Eastern time on Friday morning. Maybe a little sooner, a little later. It could be a hurricane, but it could also not become a hurricane, and if it interacts with land too much, who knows, we could actually see some weakening. But right now it looks like strengthening until landfall into a hurricane, probably only a Category 1. You can see the models are still in good agreement here, generally to the west, maybe a bend to the north. How fast that happens is still unknown. Out here is Karen, and it has been weakening. It became a hurricane for a short while yesterday, and it will likely be reflected in the final best track of Karen. And it's been weakening since it's been sheared, but not extremely rapidly. Winds are down to 60, but remember Ingrid, if I had to say which one of these, Ingrid or Karen, was in worse shape and had a bleaker future, it'd probably be Ingrid. Ingrid didn't survive. This one probably will. It's moving to the northwest, which is important now at 12,005 millibars. And you can see the track here. It should weaken, but then, say by early next week, it should start to feel less shear. And with building ridging to the north of it, it should slowly, and I do mean slowly, start to bend off towards the west. Now, if it ends up moving west, how long does it move west before it recurves again, if it does? Or does it stay further south and bend west more in this area, or does it just continue out? Still a little too early, but we'll keep a close eye on it, because as you can see, as the sun goes down, this still has a vigorous circulation. You can see the high thunderstorm top here as the sunlight hits it. There's the IR, and notice this very deep convection is trying to survive, but the center is getting exposed here, and we'll see just how long it can survive. Again, you notice here the UK Met model brings it up to the northwest and then bends it back and then takes it west-southwest for a while. Unsure if that's going to happen depending on how strong the ridging gets. If the ridging gets really strong and our system is where the hurricane center thinks it's going to be and starts turning sooner, then it could be under a pretty favorable environment. The whole question is, does it survive? You can see the wind shear over it right now is up to 50 knots in some areas, and low shear behind it and low shear in front of it, but it's got to get through this barrier here just like Ingrid did and couldn't do. You can see on the edge of our screen, Lorenzo is under an anticyclone, very favorable. Also, the Caribbean is extremely favorable, but nothing there. Taking a look at the tendencies now, you can see the shear is tending to be lower behind Karen, but then again in front of it, it's just getting stronger. If it makes it out here, and we have rebuilding ridging, then it will be in a very good environment for intensification. It needs to survive, though. You can see, again, Lorenzo in a pretty good environment as well. So, in conclusion, our two systems are Lorenzo here and then Karen. And Karen should be a very large but weak tropical storm over the next several days and take a track like this and then start to bend. If it bends a little bit sooner, if it bends a little bit further north or doesn't bend at all and continues out, that's still unknown. And how strong it is out here will dictate its future on whether or not it ever becomes a potential threat to land areas on the United States coastline as well as the Bahamas. And for Lorenzo, hurricane warnings are out and tropical storm warnings are out for Mexico. Expect Lorenzo to become a hurricane before landfall and then make landfall in about 12 hours and move slowly inland and rain like mad, but it should dissipate rather quickly. I'm Mike Naso from IPR. That's the latest on the tropics. Stay tuned to podweather.com.